Hey, there we go. Oh my goodness. And we're back. My name is Jeff Fritz. Today is, what day is today? Today is May 26th, Sunday, May 26th. And we're going to write a little bit of code today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, InstaFluff is here. Good to see you, my friend. InstaFluff, of course, is another one of the live coders. That's a team of folks that are all writing code live here on Twitch. You can find more information about them on the team link below. How's it going there? Good to see you. My gosh, it's the first day back here, back in the saddle, back at home, back in stately Fritz Studios. Yeah, I think that's a thing. I've got a brand new hat. I've got an Atari hat. I have to figure out what the Japanese text is underneath. I have to figure that out. It's so good to be back. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you. I'm thrilled to be back from Vegas. We had an amazing week. Promoting, sharing all about SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, OneDrive. It was tremendous. There was so much. It says Atari in Japanese underneath. Look at that. Thank you, InstaFluff. I have no idea. I need to learn Japanese at some point. That's got to become a thing for me, I think. So we did SharePoint all week this week. I hope you check out the SharePoint channel at SharePoint TV. Lots of stuff happening there. We're getting ready to do a weekly SharePoint TV show over on that channel. It's enterprise development, but it's also web first now. It's not just ASP.NET that you're going to see folks using to build and extend SharePoint. And SharePoint is a whole lot more than just a content management system now. There's a whole suite of services that make that up, and I was really excited to learn all about that from folks like Jeff Teeper, from Bill Bear, from my gosh, all the amazing guests that we had on this week. If you didn't catch any of it, I encourage you, check it out. There is a whole lot going on there that really makes enterprise development, enterprise application management, and process flow something special, something easy to do. Daniel's here. Hello, and Kasukin. Good morning, good afternoon, good to see you. Let me get some music going here in the background. And we need to also talk about some of our goals, some of the things that have been going on here on stream. I did that little recap about SharePoint TV. We're going to move on and talk about some of the other things coming up. Your SharePoint at work is a mess. Oh no, Lycan. The latest stuff with SharePoint Online looks amazing. Really easy to use, beautiful user interface, easy to update, easy to maintain, and they're dialing in artificial intelligence to make it even more productive. Really great stuff. Heading over here, we are at 6,464 followers. If we get that number to 8,000 before September 15th, I will dye the beard rainbow for TwitchCon. Here's the thing, you know now that .NET Conf is actually the 3 days ahead of it. I tell you what, I'll even throw this in. If we get to 8,000 before September 15th, I'll have it rainbow for the whole week. We'll be live on .NET Conf Rainbow, and we'll be live in person at TwitchCon, all rainbowed up as a salute to you, our friends and followers out there on Twitch, all right? I think that's easy to suggest and get out there. Let me get the music playing in the background here, though. I want to make sure that we have some music to code by, some great stuff to listen to. You know what? I'm going to throw back, and I'm going to go to Blue. This is one of the original. This is the first music to code by song. Get you in the groove, get you focused, get you, working on and thinking of that task at hand. All the other worries, all the other things that might be going on, this music will help just fade to the background. Really great stuff. I encourage you to check it out. Music to code by mtcb.pwop.com. You can drop the bang music command there in the chat room, and it'll give you all the information about how you can get your copy of Music to Code By. Thanks so much to Carl Franklin, who wrote and produced this music, for sharing and allowing us to listen to that here on stream. There's licenses out there if you want to get your own copy to listen to, or if you also want to use this music as background for your stream. All right, my gosh, a lot of folks jumping in here. There's a notification. Motown Andy, 5 months. Thank you so much for that sub. I didn't see the subscription thing pop up here. Stream Elements, you're dropping the ball on me here, friend. You're dropping the ball on me. Let's see. Lycan is here. Good to see you. Had someone that was hired, and the boss at that time kept wanting it that way. As soon as she would do it, he would say it's wrong. Yeah. Ashish, hello. Lannon's here. Good morning. Copper Beardy. Good afternoon, Copper Beardy. You like the Atari hat? I'm doing a bit of the throwback hats, right? We did a Pong hat last week. I've got the Atari hat this week. Wait do you see what I have for Tuesday? I found another place that has cool hats. Tuesday, I've got another one coming. I was about to go out and pick up. I needed to. I was going to go do the embroidery for the hats we gave away for our squad stream with Fierce Kittens. I have one more person that has to submit, and then I'll submit their details about which hat they want, and then we will be having those hats stitched and sent out. I hope to do that later today. So really looking forward to sending that out as the thank you to those 5 folks that put together a couple bucks for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital during our squad stream with Fierce Kittens. Now, she also had a promise to do a Viking coding stream with me if they hit a goal, and they hit that goal. So we're going to do a Viking coding stream. Now, I don't know if that means I need to wear a Minnesota Vikings hat, or if I need to wear, like, you know, a hat with the 2 horns, like a Viking helmet. I got to figure that out, what that means, but we're going to do another live coding stream, pair programming with Fierce Kittens coming up here in the next few weeks. Now, why am I not hearing the announcements on those? Martin Van Stam, thanks so much for the resub. 3 months from you. Thank you very, very much. And I believe that puts you into a red hat now. Congratulations. Design Web Build. Good day. Good to see you. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not getting those sounds coming through. I don't know. Interesting. All right. This is May. May is for Mac, so we're going to be doing all of our .NET development on a Mac. .NET Mac. It's a thing. So that's where we're going to be working today. This is my Macintosh behind me. And the title is wrong. Mac is for Macs? Yes, Mac is for Macs. What do you mean Mac is for Macs? Did I spell it wrong? I did. I spelled it wrong. Oh, no. Let's fix that real quick over here. Update. There we go. That should be better. As long as it's not a Minnesota Vikings hat. All right. I kind of agree. I don't want to have a Minnesota Vikings hat. I'd rather have a Viking helmet. Right? We'll figure that out before we get together with Fierce Kittens. Hey, Binary Chef. Good to see you. So, let's head over to the Mac here, and let's talk about our project, and let's jump back into it. This is the resource management project that we started just a little bit ago because I wanted to get back into something that was a little more realistic, something that wasn't very streamish. You know, building something for the stream. Let's take a quick look here. Why isn't this sentiment? See this? I come back home and nothing works. The sentiment analysis numbers aren't updating there. Let's see if we can get that refreshed and updated there. Let's see. We'll put a quick test statement in there, and we should see a sentiment number. There it is. Ugh. All right. That number will go up. We know that number will go up because we have a great chat room that's all kinds of friendly and happy to see folks. Simon, good to be chilling with you after converting an Angular app to the new VS 2019 template till 4 a.m. 4 a.m.? Wow. That's impressive. Liking the new Visual Studio and SPA support in ASP.NET Core. Everything is on the fritz. Absolutely, Landon. I left and it's like the kids came through my home office and messed everything up. So this is an application that I started to support a nonprofit organization near me, a therapeutic riding ranch, horseback riding ranch called Sebastian Riding Associates. You can find this at github.com/FritzandFriends/resource management. And I generically named it resource management because we're managing the schedules for volunteers, folks that are coming in to help with the process, help with folks learning to ride at Sebastian. I've forked this. I have a copy that I'm working with in my in my personal GitHub. But you can see a little bit of the information about what's going on here. And we started working on the ability to build schedules and what a schedule looks like. Because this is a common problem that a lot of folks have. How do I schedule my employees? How do I set up recurring schedules? How do I interact with them in a way that that allows great flexibility and ultimate programmability, I guess. So we've gone through and we've started engineering a little bit of this, and we've done some really neat things with it. I wrote some more code while we were not together last week. One evening after things had cooled down, and I wanted to get some ideas out of my head. I think I put some logging into here while we were not together. Let's see if we can open this back up. And this is, of course, Visual Studio Code. I do have some folks from the Visual Studio for Mac team that should be joining us this week. I think Thursday is when we discuss that. So we should have those folks tuning in. 4 a.m., that's like dinner time. Insta-fluff.
Oh my.
That's kind of late. My goodness. Let's see here. Michael Jolly says, nice Atari hat. And thank you. Make sure you check out Michael Jolly. He's another one of the live coders, just like InstaFluff. Yeah, and I've got a number of folks that we have to get lined up to join us for a pair programming stream because they led the month cheers, the bits for bytes that we do every month. If you cheer 100 bits or more, we'll put a cheer marker. We'll cheer graffiti into our code. And whoever's the top at the end of the month will get to do a pair programming stream with me. I've got 3 of these that I owe right now. Michael Jolly, Robert Tables, and I Am Not Myself. All 3 of them I owe live coding streams to. So we'll get those scheduled very, very soon here. I'm home for a couple weeks before I head back out for my last conference that I'm speaking at in 2019. Oh, yes. Why am I using Visual Studio Code and not VS and not Visual Studio for Mac? Because I enjoy Visual Studio Code. That's the one I'm using for right now. We'll use Visual Studio for Mac a little bit. There's Robert Tables. Speak of it's like I Beetlejuiced him. I mentioned Robert Tables and boom, there he is. Good to see you, sir. Yesterday, Robert Tables built an oscilloscope on stream. An oscilloscope. I would never think of doing that. Oh my gosh. Just amazing to see that put together. So we've been working on this project to define and allow folks to write up what their schedules might be that they have for, in our case, this will be at this at this therapeutic horse ranch. Now, this is a typical problem that a lot of folks have. How do I define a schedule? How do I set up recurrence patterns? And we've written a number of tests around this. Let me actually do a quick git status here. Oh, good. Everything is clean. Good. So I've written a couple of tests to verify that we build and execute schedules properly. Our domain objects are actually quite simple around this. I don't know why I've got the modified dot here. That feels weird. I mean, it's showing that everything is saved here, right? Right, if I do a save all, I've still got the modified and it's telling me that everything's good. Gareth! Thanks. Now, why am I not hearing this, the sounds over there? Oh my gosh, 11 months. Are we still on May is for Max? Yes. How's it going compared to last year? We didn't do as much because I've been out for a little bit. You prefer Visual Studio Code as well, and only use Visual Studio Mac for Xamarin, although Python support in Visual Studio Code is busted. It's busted? Really? Nah, I don't think so. Junie! Oh my gosh, leave it to Fritzy. Beetlejuices so many people. I should do a coding summoning dance now. No. Sorry. Source Good is here. Hello, hello. And Tim Corey, good to see you. Oh my gosh, Tim Corey does some tremendous content on YouTube. Really great videos out there. You got to check out Tim Corey's YouTube channel. Great stuff. Always enjoy watching it. It's really nice. I'm going to take a quick look here at why the heck. Yeah, if I turn this on. Not quite sure why we're not getting all the sound effects coming through from Stream Elements. Can somebody drop an exclamation point Scott in the chat room? Let's see if we can get that to pop through. That should come up. Of course that should come up. I'm getting all the other... No, that's not coming up either. I'm not getting any of my sound effects, any sounds coming through. Wow. Now I feel shame. I really do. How about bang attention? Is that one working? And actually, nope. No. Well, I didn't spell it right. That's probably a start there. I know, the whole end thens. Oh, we'll get to the end thens. Oh, trust me.
Listen.
I'm trying to figure out. No, we're not getting attention either. Why are none of my sound effects coming through from the PC? Did I break something? I must have.
Hey, listen.
You did hear noise. You did hear it. All right. And it's not coming through. Let me see if I can set my sound levels real quick here.
Scott!
Nope. Wrong one. You did hear the attention. All right. So why isn't it coming through? Did you hear Scott? All right. Let me see. How can I do this? How can I get through and just set this so that I can hear those again? Because something strange is afoot at the Circle K. Because I can hear the music, but I can't hear anything else. 1 second here. Let's see if... let me see if I can move this. Take a look at my sounds. I hate it when these things get misconfigured on me and I don't hear things. Ah, that's why. Haha! I found it. I found it. I need it to go there. Can we drop an exclamation point Scott again? Scott! There it is. Found it. It's because I went and replugged everything in. And this. There we go. All right. Back into it. Does the Circle K hold a mysterious supernatural power over your stream? Yes. It does. It's amazing. Look.
A nutless monkey could do your job.
Len? I don't need any more of your nonsense. I've had it with Len Goodman over there. All right, so what was... read the Git. What does VS Code say the changes are? What do you mean? What does it say? Contains emphasized items. Yeah, emphasized items. It just says modified. Right? But there's nothing that changed in here. Yeah, and that says it's clean. Did I just fix the thing by turning it on and off again? No. No, I didn't get that, Scott. Oh, wait. Look at the source control panel. The source control panel. Over here, look at that. It says there's 4 changes. I think that's out of... There we go. Right. It was out of date because I made a commit in the terminal. All right. Let's start over. So we have a domain object for all of our schedule information. A person has a schedule, defined here by a schedule ID. So we have that foreign key relationship. A schedule has a collection of schedule items. A schedule item is a one-off thing, right? This is, and let's actually put a comment with that so that we can remember. I so wish it would do my comment type up there. No. Right, isn't it? Like that. Ugh, I hate... Why do I have to type this in by hand? Right? The comment docs should just pop in here. There's an extension for XML comments. I shouldn't need the extension. It should just come with the C# one. Why did this change? It was there. I don't like having to create my own stuff here. Right? It should have been part of it. That makes me sad. Right, so now if I go back up here, go to this thing. I'm surprised it didn't make me reload. But, alright, there it is. A one-off instance of a schedule item, of an item on the schedule. Okay. So that's what that is. And we also have, from the schedule, a collection of recurring schedules. A recurring schedule is an event that reoccurs on the schedule given a recurrence pattern. Given a recurrence pattern defined in... Oh, look at this. I'm going to get to... Is it going to... Nope. Nope. Defined in cron pattern. Okay. But that's the whole point of VS Code. Only load what you want. Yeah, but I thought when I loaded the C# stuff that it would load that also. All right. All of my tests still pass. I'm feeling good about that. So we have, for our recurrence patterns, they're defined as a cron pattern here with a duration assigned to them. So we can say every Monday at 3 p.m. And we also say, here's the start and end time. How long that recurrence pattern exists, right? I'm going to say, just for the month of May, every Monday at 3 p.m. I have yoga class or whatever it is that you might have. So we have those things hanging out there. We also have schedule statuses. We have 3 different statuses: tentative, not available, and available. By default, everything is tentative. Only when you schedule, I'm not available for something, are you not available? And only when you schedule something and say, yes, I am available, are things available. Finally, I have an object here called a time slot. And a time slot, quite simply, is for this time to that time, I have this status. I'm available or I'm not available. This way we can expand out our schedule, calculate automatically when folks are available or not available, and we just have these time slots that are plotted for us. Eventually, we'll find the intersection of time slots so that we'll have a scheduled lesson, because that's what they do at the facility. They schedule lessons, and then we'll look for people that have schedules available at that time, and we'll book them. We'll request them for to volunteer for that time. That's the whole point of VS Code. I prefer the minimalist approach unless you're expecting the comments support to be part of the C# extension. I was expecting it to be part of it, yes. There are those meta extensions that install a set of extensions. Exactly. I thought, well, whatever. So how are you doing, Junie? I talked to you last night. Junie Von Esch is raising money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital as well, and she's hosting all kinds of discussions on her stream where she does cross-stitch, and she has a very adult tone. She's not for the kids to listen to. She's NC-17 with all the cussing that goes on over there. My gosh. but be ready for it. She brings the heat.
I drink, and I know things.
She does. She drinks and she knows things. Hannibal asks, why C# on a Mac? Why not? If you like Mac and you like C#, why not? If that's what makes you happy, go for it. So that's what a time slot is. That's what a schedule item is. And I wrote some unit tests around these that allow you to expand those schedules so that you can see and make sure that it's calculating them appropriately. So we have things like a cron pattern that looks like this. That says, right, on Mondays for 15 minutes at 3 p.m. Go ahead and schedule that appointment. So we're running all these tests, and you can see down here that they're all running and passing properly. We've got it. They're just a series of very simple tests that it's going through and executing to make sure that we know how to properly expand these schedules, calculate all the time slots that someone is available. Now, that's using, where did it go? Here. We wrote a little class that has a schedule manager object here that knows how to do that schedule expansion. The one thing that I have done since is I wrote a logger interaction here since our last time together. I wrote a logger interaction so that we can write out a little trace statement to indicate where it exits this interaction. All right? This way we can, when we're testing, we can turn up that trace logger and we can see exactly how and why things passed and didn't pass. I think that's a good I think it's good practice to have a logger that you pass around so that you can inspect these things. And when you are testing, turn it up all the way to trace so that I can see what's going on. But when I'm running in production, turn it down to just errors only so that I don't. St. Jude's right down the road for me. Cool, Binary Chef. What am I planning to use for my GUI? Is it better than WPF? I'm planning to use a web user interface using Blazor. I'm sorry, not Razor, Blazor. You don't like the bloat of WPF. Well, I'm sorry about that, Hannibal. There are a lot of folks in the Windows world who do appreciate it and really enjoy using it. To each their own. That's the beauty of .NET. You can use all kinds of user interfaces and choose which framework works best for you. There's even folks that are writing Blazor apps with WPF syntax so that they can compile down WPF XAML and have it run in the browser. There's also folks that are building Electron apps and using Blazor to build and compile native and inject that into an Electron app so it becomes portable, just like some of the Electron apps, like Visual Studio Code, Slack. So a lot of flexibility. It's all about choice. If you don't like building things one way, that's okay. There's other ways you can do it too. That's pretty cool. So we've got the calculation of all these things. I think we're just about ready to start with a data interaction with some sort of a data interface to write to a database. I think that's going to be the next place to go here, is be able to write to a database. I don't know. What do you think, chat room? Do I go there next, or do I start interacting with a web with a web page so that we can start building out our schedules? Or do I start collecting what lessons are, scheduled lessons, and save those? Do the fun thing first. Hey, da nerd. But Junie says do the fun thing first. Well, what's fun? What database? Part of me wants to use Postgres, because I think Postgres would be fun to do here on a Mac. We could start up Postgres, have it run inside of a container, and interact with that. I think that might be good to do. to start doing that interaction.
And then?
Be it once we're storing people schedules, we can start writing lesson schedules.
And then?
Calculate the intersection of them. Postgres with a GraphQL API. So I haven't done GraphQL yet. Yes, Robert Tables, I said container.
Oh my.
Little known fact, if you say containers 3 times fast, Robert Tables appears. It's true. It happens all the time.
Wait, Master. It might be dangerous.
No, it's not dangerous. Robert Tables knows what he's talking about because...
I love it when a plan comes together.
He does. He loves it when a plan comes together, especially if the plan contains containers. Yes, I said that right. Okay. And
60% of the time, it works every time.
it does. What's going on there? I never really worked with containers. Might have to learn about them. Well, Gareth, we'll take a look at that. Actually, if we get into Postgres here, I think we can start working with it right now. There's a saying at our local .NET user group that if you say Xamarin 3 times, I will appear. Nice. I don't know about GraphQL API. I don't know. I'm not sold on GraphQL. I don't. Yeah. I haven't been missing my sound effects. I've been away from my stream when I could use the sound effects and have fun with that. Yeah. Okay. So I have these domain objects. I'm not sure person... Okay, we did refactor person type, so it's just an ID and a name. Because we'll have people that are both students and volunteers for this object, for this deployment. Students have their own schedule, and a lesson is an intersection of a student schedule with volunteer schedule. We're going to have to come back to that. Yeah, I'm not sold on GraphQL. I feel like it's a flavor of the week because it does almost all the same things that we had OData do 10 years ago. Oh, but we don't like OData because it's an XML. Fine. Now you're doing GraphQL and it's all in JavaScript. Oh, but we don't like JavaScript because it's not protocol buffers. So we're going to use gRPC. Really? Really? Here's what I've been missing.
Cut it out with all the formatting. We're calling a service. It's just HTTP, alright?
How's that? I missed that Darth Vader sound effect so much. It's language agnostic. Fine. So is gRPC. Am I doing a stream about avoiding cloud bill shock? No. No. Penny pinching in the cloud, handsome when it's done. No. I've got other things that I need to get to first before we get into that kind of thing. You heard Scott Hunter talking about gRPC on .NET Rocks. To me, it sounded like a new version of SOAP. But it's what Google is promoting and what Google is encouraging folks to use to interact with their RPC endpoints. And a lot of people are starting to really, really like it. Welcome. Is that Rosenange? Rosenange? Let me know how to pronounce that. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Reinventing what we had earlier is what the cool kids do these days. Yeah. All right. So I think we should go after a little bit of this database interaction. I believe I have Docker running here. Do we? Yes. What images do I have hanging out here? Oh, we've got a lot of really, really old images here. Look at those Kubernetes images. That's great. I'm not sure why I have these Kubernetes images. I didn't put them down. I think I told it to install Kubernetes and they just kind of came along for the ride. I'd like to get... Right, so right over here in that, I'm going to... let's see if we can pull Postgres. We can grab the latest version of the Postgres. So Postgres is a free and open source database that you can use for your projects Works great in a container, and it runs on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And because it runs in a container means that I can configure it, I can stick it somewhere and just call out a fully configured container with all the database stuff that I need when I need it. So there's great libraries for using Postgres from .Net and from many other programming languages and frameworks, but we're going to use one here for .Net Core and C# so that we can code using Entity Framework Core using Postgres as our backing data store. Hucking, I see what you did there. Good to see you, Hucking. Thanks so much for the follow. I'm not going to pronounce your full name, just because I want to make sure that we stay a little bit family friendly here. All right? Yes, all the developers. Daniel Luden, absolutely. We want to welcome every one of our followers here. Our friend Steve has appeared more than 6,000 times here on this stream, welcoming all the developers. And I've been told several times by folks that we need to stop that. Jalapin, is that Jalapin Joe or is that Jalapeno Joe? Jalapeno. Aha! I see what you did there. Fantastic.
Do it!
That's pretty cool. I've been asked to make Steve disappear, to cut it out with Steve. But I think that's important that we welcome and say hello to all of our new developer friends when they join us. You sold me? Good. Glad to hear it. You have Minikube for Kubernetes on your machine? Nice. All right. The chant is fun. It is, but there are folks who are annoyed by it. When I do the full day workshops, they can't stand it. They hate when Steve shows up. Look at the comments on some of my YouTube videos. Oh, they really don't like Steve. Okay, so I have these domain objects. Just setting up to save these things. I think we're okay to take these directly as is. There you go. That's where you can find the YouTube channel. If I'm going to build here off of this web project, if this is going to be our initial web project, and I'm starting simple, I want to get minimum viable project here. I'm not concerned with getting into things like event storage or complex architectures like CQRS or the actor model. I'm not going to get into those yet. I want to stay simple. I want to get to a minimum viable where I can get folks to just create and save their interactions. Make it work, then make it good. Absolutely, Robert Tables. So I think we're going to start with the data over here in this web project. We'll start setting up references to the domain objects, and we will build out our entity framework interactions with Postgres here. Sound good? We'll eventually move those things out into another project so we can do that. So this is, I need to put a project command in there. This is a resource management project. Come here. That'll allow you to manage the schedules and the schedules of volunteers initially for this facility, Sebastian Writing Associates. It's a therapeutic writing ranch, right? For kids, for folks that need a change in their life. They might be autistic, they might be handicapped in some way, and they're recovering from whatever their challenge might be with a little bit of equine therapy. So we schedule, we have volunteers that need to help out, we have trainers that need to help out, and we also have students. We need to have all of their schedules and be able to measure that intersection of things so that we know when folks are able to participate. It is a little bit of a charity project. You've seen the Steve Ballmer down there. Oh yeah, Yasin. Absolutely. Steve will be here for a while. I like Steve showing up there. Some folks have said I need to have Satya show up every now and again. There's nothing quite interesting that Satya has said or done that we can poke fun at and laugh at with him. I think Steve, if he were to see what we're doing here on stream, I think he'd smile at how we've included his greeting here for developers. So I'm going to go back to the web project here and start pulling references to our other projects into this. So if we start with, here it is, the project file. The project file for for an ASP.NET Core 3 project, right? This is the preview version of .NET Core, is targeting .NET Core App 3. And it has a project reference to our domain objects. For right now, I think that's fine. Eventually, we'll need to bring in a reference to that schedule manager so that we can interact with it and extract those schedules. Daniel, I've actually tried to reach out. I've got some contacts at his office. I've talked to some folks about reaching out to him. They said it wasn't a good time when I wanted to reach out to him. Svava! Good to see you. I would love to have Steve join us for like show 500. Even if it's a 5-minute, thanks so much for the work he's done and for greeting folks with developers, and just to talk to him briefly about it. A pre-recorded thing. I think it would be terrific. I'm nearly positive he hasn't seen it. Someone may have told him about it, but and I'm sure he knows about the video. I'm not sure he knows that we use that as a greeting for all of our friends here. But I would definitely be interested in bringing him in. What is my current episode count? We're close to 250. Very close to 250. I'm not quite sure. I would need to go do the count. Let's see here. All right, let me get back into this. So we've added one reference to our domain objects, and we can use those as our objects that we're going to save and interact with in the database. I'm going to add a reference now to the Postgres library that we're going to use from NuGet. So now let's do this. Come over here. I'm going to search NuGet for, I believe it's called PSQL. I think that's what the package is called. No. Shoot, what is it called? NPG SQL. There it is. This is the project we're going to use. And there's a wrapper for this that we can use to get this to use Entity Framework Core. Where is it? About getting help, contributors. No. Entity Framework Core. Here it is. I want to make sure I'm referencing the right package here. NPG SQL, Entity Framework Core, PostgreSQL. So I'm going to grab that. Go back over to Visual Studio Code, and here inside the box right there, let me go up one. Let me go into Fritz, Resource Management, Web. Yep. So I will use the .NET add package command and just paste in that. So it should add the appropriate version of the package right here in the command, in the terminal box. Installing. Good. So now you see what it's done is it's created a new XML node here for that. There are unresolved dependencies. Well, go away. And now you feel shame. Right? So it still builds and runs properly. We're good there. All right. So I have my reference. We just went through that Visual Studio Code. What are you doing over here? I tell you. All right. So I've got those two references. Actually, nitpicking. I like to have my information about the target framework and language version at the top. So I'm just going to move this up. Just because I think these meta properties about your project and how it's going to compile go away.
Do it!
Yeah. Hey, S&B, good to see you. All right, so that's laid out. So now I can reference Postgres from inside my project. So let's close this out. I should be able now to go into Startup and start adding Entity Framework capabilities, adding the Postgres capabilities, and we'll start building out our Postgres database inside the container. C# hipped bot. Close early dev. Started using the Zendesk C# SDK from Mott's. The Zendesk. I'm not familiar with that. Not familiar with that library. What's it do? All right. Let's see here. So I want to start adding references. I'm going to get rid of this weather forecast service. That's kind of, it comes with the template, and I don't need it. That's up here under data, right? Lame. Don't need you. Go away. Are you kidding me? What the heck? Stop moving things on me here. All right, get rid of those. And we're going to want a models folder, I think. Not a data folder. I'm going to get rid of data. I don't need data. Really? What are you doing? Just for that, I'm going back to the command line. I'm not going to deal with this. All right. So let's start adding to our startup class references to Entity Framework Core so we can interact with that database, right? This can go away. So inside this configure services method, this is where we configure our dependency injection container inside of ASP.NET Core. This comes free. It's available for every class. Every class that's created in ASP.NET Core is routed through the dependency injection container. So if you request a service in a constructor, you get it provided to you. So I should be able to say add entity framework npg SQL, right? Don't I have to say add entity framework? Don't I have to say that first? And I also have to say, I have to define the configuration for it, where it's going to go to get all that information, right? Think about tonight's stream. Okay. Right, I should be, well, there's this. Adding configuration. I should be saying add DB context and then build service provider. I don't need the build service provider, but add DB context, definitely. Definitely. Right? Add DB, see, it's not here. It's not here. No. Model. Really? Come on now. And let's just call this DB not DB context. Call this models dot short my DB context. I don't know. Right, we'll make that a thing. Why is there an extra E in there? Where'd that come from? Alright, so that doesn't know what that is because it's not created yet. Great, get rid of that. Do one of these. So now I should be able to come over to models. I thought there was a thing to add a new C# file in there. Nope. My DB context CS. Alright. Namespace. So this is Fritz, resource management, web, models. I should be able to. Come on! Thank you. My DB context. We're going to want to make that a public class. Right? And this is a DB context. It's going to tell me I don't know what that is. Control dot. Control dot. You make me sad. There we go. So now we know what that is. Also consider add DB context pool. Not a bad idea. Let's go back over to that. Wrong. I can use add DB context pool instead, and it'll create a database context pool of these. Why are we getting a red underline? What don't you like? I need a options builder. That's fine. Right? Use application service provider. Where is it? What's use model do? Sets the model to be used for the context. If the model is set, then blah, 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 blah. On model creating will not. I want to use on model creating, I think. I do want to get. Oh, Stormfist68. Thanks so much for the resub. 3 months. That'll put you into a red hat. Congratulations. It's funny. It doesn't have the. Is it under options? It's interesting. It doesn't have the configuration string sitting there. Still one of us. Absolutely. Why don't I get the connection string? You know? Right? You know what? I'm going to switch this back to just add context. We'll figure out the context pool later. I'm going to go over here. So the way that NPG SQL is suggesting you do this is down here. On configuring options builder, use NPG SQL, and then pass in your connection string there. We need to get that from configuration. So we need to pass the I configuration around as well. So you need to import the namespace. Which namespace? See, that feels bad that the namespace is outside of. Right? That I need to go and add something extra in order to get the ability to configure like that. So I configuration is available to me by default just because. Right? So if I make a constructor here, my DB context, and if I receive an I configuration, this of course is not going to do the thing, right? So I can say config this dot conf. Oh, come on now. I really don't like how Visual Studio Code wants you to use what it's automatically completed for you. You know, it's very heavy-handed with that. I'm going to override the on configuring so that we can tell it exactly where to go to get the configuration string. So options builder, use NPG SQL. And, oh my gosh. How am I supposed to read that? Right? Come on now. No, I can't use config there. Let's do... Come on! You're getting a little aggressive here with the autocomplete. No. What was that syntax? Right? Options builder, use NPG SQL. And okay, I need to pass in. Really? We'll do this. Config dot get connection string DB. So that'll set up so that it gets the connection string from the configuration. Now, why don't you like this? Private member is unused. Still doesn't like that. Why not? Override is not valid for this item. Method must have a return type. Why didn't it automatically give me the return type? Still doesn't like it. You stink. No. Really? Virtual or abstract members cannot be private. You're ticking me off now. And there's no quick actions. You stink. It still doesn't like that. No. No. It is a bit twitchy when it chooses your autocomplete. It's really annoying, right? Cannot change access modifiers. I mean, you're kidding. So if I change that to protected, why didn't it set that properly to start with? That feels really bad. You hardly get these frameworks. It's the IntelliSense that was offering help there was not correct. I'm going to stop our .NET watch over here, and I'm going to reconfigure it so that it's doing a .NET watch build on the web project. So I'm making sure that it at least compiles, right? Because I don't have a test project that runs against my web right now. There you go. See, it doesn't build. So we've got references to weather forecasts still hanging out here. Let me get rid of those because I did clean those out. Fetch data razor. Under pages. Fetch data. This is referencing the weather forecast stuff that doesn't exist. Like right here. Get rid of that. Funny it doesn't like that, does it? And that doesn't exist either. I don't want to completely wipe this. No, let it. I think we need to wipe it. Yeah, go away. Why do you think I right-clicked? Why did I select Postgres? Because it's cross-platform, works everywhere, and there's a nice library for .NET to use with it. What else do we need to clean out here? Come on. Finish that build. Good. Good, good. All right, so my DB context now has the ability to configure and specify what our configuration looks like. All right. So I feel like we need to... I don't... It's not that I feel like. We need to start defining our database sets that we're going to interact with from our web project. So these are DB sets. And we're going to reference a... Well, we need to have a person object. So we'll create a person object. And let's put that in a persons table. Retro CRT, thanks so much for the sub. I appreciate that. And we'll make a donation to Veterans Who Code like we are for every cheer and every sub this month. Thank you very much for that. There we go. There's my using statement. Docker, I hope, yeah, it runs great in Docker. Yep. No, I didn't want to get Robert Tables excited. Nope, not specifically wanted to get him excited. It's just, it happened that way. Let's create a DB set also for our person type objects so that we have those made available. So these will be person types. We're going to want a DB set for schedule. Now, it should automatically create... Taco Ninja. Thank you for the follow. No, come on now. Put that back. No. You're not going to put it back for me. Fine. I'll type it by hand then. Schedules. it should automatically generate the schedule tables for me. All of those child tables that are being referenced, it should create those. Because a schedule has a collection of schedule items, and a schedule item has a schedule ID. Good. A recurring schedule has a schedule ID. I may need to put some reference objects back and forth between those so that it can walk the stack properly. But I think we're okay. The hair trigger completion is annoying. Changing the editor tab completion setting might help. Really? Open user settings. Tab completion. Enable tab completions. We'll insert the best matching suggestion when pressing tab. All right, let's see what that does. I think that's enough to start. Let's do this. If I start a Postgres container, there's a bunch of things that we need to pass into it to configure it. So let's get that documentation here so that we can, yeah, okay. Blah, 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 blah. I need to tell it like the password. Oh, dear Lord. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No. Ugh. Gosh, Daredevil Ops. Nice. Love that. Thanks for the resub. 3 months, that puts you into a red hat. Congratulations. Where we will host this app, asks, comments Ashish. Probably Azure. Probably. But putting things into containers gives us the freedom to put it wherever we want. So, no, I want Postgres, but the configuration information here is awful around this. I just want to run it, you know? That's a terrible getting started page. Night Developer, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Don't install Postgres. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see what we got here. Because I just want to say docker run Postgres and give it the password that I want to start with. Postgres password. That'll do. I think that's the only one that I need. No. Docker run. Yep. Ugh. Come on now. No. Arbitrary user. Where to store data. I don't care about that right now. I just want it running. You know? Docker run, name some Postgres. Yeah, that's where I'm going to end up there, Robert Tables. An unbeliever uses Windows and C#. I'm here to spread free software and GNU Linux. Hi, Stallman's bot. We're actually using a Mac with Bash. And everything is, yeah. Hubdocker.com. I think I'm hubdocker.com _Postgres. Who brought the Stallman's bot? You'll continue to spread free software. Not debating it whatsoever. All of this stuff is open source and free for anybody to use however they'd like. Yeah, there you go. That's what I want to be able to do here. Not Stallman, wholly Stallman, whatever. You do you. If that makes you happy, more power to you. All right. Yeah. So that's what I want to end up doing there. So Docker run. Yep, we're going to give it a name. I feel like I want to put this into a script file so I can just start this whenever I need it. Let's call this just PG. -E. Yep, the environment variable. Postgres _password. And I'm lame. I'm going to just make it password. It's my development instance. I don't care. You can't touch it. Yep, -D, so it goes into daemon mode. It runs in the background. And we're going to grab the Postgres to do that. And that should run. There it is. Doing a thing. It was an instant reply. We know the password. Good for you. Do you know if the Office Fabric UI will come with ASP components so I can use it without React? Oh yes, make sure you check out my Discord. Absolutely. ! Discord, you can go ahead and use that. I'm not quite sure what you're getting at there, Stallman Bot. This is Visual Studio Code. Yep, everything's open source. It's all MIT. Oh, please. I don't know if they're going to make ASP.NET Core components for that, but it's available. It's available. You can use it. So if I do now you know what? It's really small to see things there. Let me go over here. And if I do a Docker PS, I can see there's my... It's not forwarding that 5432 to me. So I'm not going to be able to use it, am I? Right? So let's set up a connection string inside of app settings. Right? So log level, allowed hosts. I'm going to add, right? Connection strings. DB, because that's the name that we gave it. And we need to give it an appropriate connection string. Over here. And our connection string is going to look like this. So I'll copy that, go back over to this. Paste this in. You know, Stallman's Bot, you're getting a little trolly here. A future stream showing Blazor, says Bardiche Machine. What do you think this is? We're gonna get to Blazor. Maybe not today, but it's coming. Yeah. Yes, you are the troll list. Thank you. Thank you, Robert Tables. Host is localhost, right? Database is, I think I just called it PG. Isn't that what I called it down here? Yep. Oh no, actually it's Postgres because it's the default, right? Username is Postgres because that's the default as well. Password is password. That should work. That should get me connected and into there. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Robert Tables. I very much appreciate that. So I should be able now, from here, I should be able to now start interacting with my .NET EF commands. Oh, we don't have it installed. The .NET Entity Framework commands that allow us to build and interact are global tools that are available for everybody to use anywhere inside of, well, wherever you have the .NET SDK available. You can now invoke the tool by calling .NET EF. So now I can say .NET EF, and I can interact with this. Oh, you make me sad. Oh, you make me so sad. Now we're going to be chasing versions here, aren't we? .NET tool install global. So can we do a .NET tool install and force the framework version? .NET tool install help. I need to specify target framework to install the tool for -- version. There we go. -- version. There it goes. 3.0.0 -preview 5. Let's see if we can get that install. Hey, Lana Lux is here. Lana, it's so great to see you. Just in time to watch me struggle with interacting with the database. Thanks. Thanks so much. How do I get the .NET EF tools for .NET Core 3? Right? I should be able to install this and get it running. Yeah. Oh, they are on point. If I can't get this thing installed, I'm going to just be really annoyed. Remove .NET EF. EF Core Runtime isn't part of the SDK. It makes sense for .NET EF to just become a plain old global tool. Well, it is. So let's... Why? Come on now. So this is part of the fun of using a preview version of all of your tools. Nope. It's not there. So how do I get the 3.0 version of .NET Core and 3, update on .NET Core 3 and Yeah. Announcing EF 3 Preview 4. Well, that sounds promising. So EF, Entity Framework, this is our database interaction, right? This is our object relational mapper. Install package, and they're forcing the 3.0 preview version. .NET tool install. See, that should have worked. Why didn't that work? I'm going to cheat and copy this out directly. Except I'm going to leave it off the end so we can specify preview 5, because I think preview 5 is the version I'm using. Isn't it? If I say .NET version, I should say, yeah, preview 5. All right. So let's get rid of this. Paste in what I copied and say preview 5 011 Do it. Really? Really? It's mocking me now. All right, so if I do .NET EF, can I specify the see? Why is it defaulting to the 2.2.0 even though I'm in the 3.0.1? What do we got here? Hey, Gandalf, good to see you. You love the sad too, but all right. So, I mean, it's clearly showing that I have a preview 5 version here, right? And just .NET EF, it's blowing up at me and it's not even going to look at this for me. Yeah, thanks, Lana. All right. So why is it... Right? I mean, I should be able, when I'm using it, it should find the appropriate one for the framework that I'm in and use it. I don't know why. I mean... Why did it install for 2.2? Right? If I .NET version over here, it's going to tell me I'm in 3.0.100. Oh, wait a sec. 3.0.100. You're right. You're right. Hang on, let me go back to that .NET Core. 3.0.100. Preview 5. Am I going to get that? No. Right, look at that error message.
A nutless monkey could do your job.
No, they can't. Because they run into this version collision also. Len. So how do we fix it so that we get the appropriate version? I feel like I need to install the 2.2 version, but I don't have the 2.2 SDK here. Teskaya? Thank you for the follow. Why am I not getting the right version here? I don't have the 2.2 SDK installed. I don't want to install the 2.2 SDK because I'm using 3. Yeah, somebody throw an exclamation Scott in the chat room there. We got to call out to him. Uninstalled and reinstall preview. Thank you, Robert Tables. We should... Right, because I'm at kind of a... Now I'm kind of dead. I can't use it at all because I don't have the tool version that the... can I do .NET tool uninstall? Global .NET EF. Can I do that? Okay, so now if I try and reinstall and force the version, now will I get it? Maybe? No.
I will rain down on a godly firestorm upon you.
Thank you, Len. Thank you for your support. We're going to rain down a firestorm on this. Look at this. This failure may have been caused by your attempting to install a preview release and did not use the version option to specify the version. A package by this name was not found. Required NuGet feed cannot be accessed because of an internet connection problem. You mistyped the name of the tool. Fine. Do that. See if you can resolve that version. No, doesn't like that one either. Found two versions of Preview 5.19.227. Fine. Give me that one then. Like, why don't you prompt me for it and say, hey, I found this version that's close. Would you like this? Did that just report every possible error? No. Unable to find it. 300. Oh, wait a sec. That's a 300, not 100. Dear God. The version collisions here are insane. But I think I got it this time. There we go. All right, let me go back to Visual Studio Code. So now over here, I should be able to .NET EF and have it interact properly. Good. All right, so if I do .NET EF database help, it's going to tell me all about how I can interact with the database. So I have my objects defined here. I want to create a migration first, right? Oh, I love migrations. So .NET EF migrations add first objects. So migration gives you the information that you need to create and build the tables inside your database, as well as destroy them, so that you can migrate, you can change the state and update your database nicely and politely as you're interacting with things. You just want a dev box and a container. Simon Gearing, actually, there's some really cool stuff you can do now with the remote, the remote debugging options that are coming with Visual Studio Code. So you can actually have a fully built development environment somewhere out there, connect to it using Visual Studio Code, and all of your tools, whether it's Python, Node, C#, Xamarin, Unity, all of those libraries are over there, and you can code locally with Visual Studio Code, write all your application code, and it'll transfer that stuff over to the other machine, hanging out there in the cloud in a developer space, build and give you that information back. Clarkio got me to try it on live stream. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Let's see here. Does not reference Microsoft Entity Framework core design. It's required. Fine. Then add it. Jeez. So let's .NET add package Microsoft Entity Framework core design. Like when it gives you this type of an error, it'd be really nice if, and this isn't the SDK, this is the compiler. If the compiler could somehow raise a question that says, would you like to install this? Yes or no? And if you're interactively working with it, thanks, Visual Studio Code, thanks. Ugh. So now let me try the .NET EF migrations add, and that should create a migrations folder over here for us, where it'll contain information about how to build these various tables. Oh, Stallman bot. Thank you. Thank you, Robert Tables. Unable to create an object of type MyDB context for the different patterns supported at design time. Blah, 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 blah. You make me sad. Fine. What am I doing wrong here? What format am I missing here? Use a constructor with no parameters. If the DB context can't be obtained, tool looks for a derived DB context type inside of it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. From a design time factory. I don't want the design time factory capabilities, but I need the empty constructor. Fine. My DB context. And it, yeah, just leave it that way. Try it again. So the watch is going to build and it should come back with no problems building. And we should get that. Trouble is the compiler would need to know if it's being used in an interactive context and not in a CI build. Correct. Yes. Yep. Can't find the connection string. I need to have that passed along. Nice. Add DB context, but I thought there was a way to specify, right? The connection string here. The options. Yeah, right. So if I say options and give it an options action here, right? It, no. Use app, no. Crumbs. Yeah, where's the database connection string? I forget where it is when you build this. It's been that long since I've written this by hand. By having a constructor on the DB context that takes an instance of DB context options as an argument and using the add DB context method. I thought I did that. Right? Add DB context. Right? So if I go back over to here and it takes a DB context options. DB context options. Options. What am I missing here? If you're upgrading, modify. This hook is included by default. Why am I missing how to do this? Use SQLite, DB blogging. I don't want to. Right, so use whatever, takes a connection string, and then passes along the options. DB context options, base options. Why am I blanking on this completely? So that works. If I go back over to startup, this should be add DB context. Action, service lifetime, no. There was a way to provide the, there was a template that used to, is the DB context in the ASP.NET? No, it's in the same, it's in the same project, so it should be here, but no. Right here, services add DB context, right? So if I change this, if I go like that, right? It's suggesting then inside of it, options use whatever, right? Options.use npg SQL. And then I can, right? Then I can specify, what don't you like there? Right. I need to give it an argument. The connection string. There it is. You make me sad. So sad. Configuration config. Now I can say config dot Okay, connection string DB. Wow, that was a lot harder than it needed to be. So then I don't need this one. Right? That should build properly over here. But if I do the .NET EF migrations, it should build properly. Yeah, I'm so used to just lifting it from the template and copying it along. Build failed. What? Parenthesis expected. I'm missing a parenthesis somewhere in here. And the outer one. Oh, one more. Let's see if that works now. This is why software will never catch on. Nah, it's... The tools are... There it goes. That built successfully, so now we should get the migration. Unable to create an object of type MyDB context. Are you kidding me? Options, base option. Right? I don't need configuration now. I can get rid of that. Ugh. Come on. This is shameful that I can't get this working.
Shame. Shame.
Yeah. No database provider has been configured for this DB context. What do you mean? It says it. Right there. DB context options. Oh, wait a sec. DB context options. My DB context. I think that's what I'm missing there. Yeah. Because it was using the other one. What do I use for the template project? Do I have a GitHub repo? Yeah, there's a GitHub repository for this. Yes. Check out my GitHub, and you'll find the resource management project in there. No database provider. What the heck? If add DB context was used, then also ensure that your DB context type expects a DB context options, my DB context, and its constructor, and passes it to the base constructor for DB. I did that. I did all of that. If I get rid of this one, so that it forces it through. Thank you, Surly Dev, for the GitHub command. I'm so used to using the templates for these things. Right? Nope. What if I go back over here? Thank you, Naveen KV. I appreciate you joining us. There's also that, right? The factory to create these. Right? Where the heck is the factory? Which I've seen folks use. Here. I mean, I guess that'll work, right? If I copy one of these in, it should just work. But hey, whatever. Right, let's call this my DB context factory. I design time, blah blah blah. My DB context. I didn't want to do that. Using that. Right, so now this should be returning a my DB context. My DB context. Use npg SQL. See, now I need to give it also that data source. My DB context. Shouldn't be a partial class with an empty constructor. No. Yeah, I do create this once per project and just forget it, you know? But I need to pass in that connection string. And I really don't want to hard code it. I'd rather it be in the app settings. But just to get this working, I'm going to hard code it. Just because I'm getting annoyed and I want to move past this, you know? Like, this shouldn't be this hard. But for some reason, damn it, it is. Oh, heck, you're right. Nope, didn't work either. Could not be... Oh, here we go. Property schedule exceptions could not be mapped because it is of type iList value tuple datetime, which is not a supported primitive type. Okay. This is interesting. So let's take a look. What this is telling us is schedule exceptions. Where did I put schedule exceptions? The Quantum Blaze. Thank you for the follow. Right, I can't. It's not going to find schedule exceptions. So where is schedule exceptions at? Here. It's an iList of datetimes of the value tuple there. While that's nice for having a simple user interface, I do see where it's a little bit of a challenge here. So let's create a class called schedule exception. Exception. And we'll start off, we're going to have to give it an ID. ID. We'll give it a date time. That's not a date time. For a start date time. Thank you. What the heck? Prop. Thank you. An end date time. And I feel like it should have a name also, just so you know, you as a user knows what it is. Right? And then I should be able to, yeah, let's move this to its own file. And we'll make this of schedule exceptions. Exception. There we go. Right? Now, why doesn't it know what that is? I just created those. Like, don't you know? Started building. Let's see. It should build properly. We should get a satisfied. No. Why don't you know what that is? Schedule exception could not be found. It's right here. Public class schedule exception. Right? No. Like, why isn't that building properly? It's a public type. It's sitting right here in Fritz Resource Management domain. Doesn't have enough info to work on it. Save. Oh, are you kidding? It moved the type and it didn't save it?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Why would you move the type and not save it? There, yeah, built properly. Wow. That is really annoying. You know? Oh, we're going to move it to this file. Don't save it. Come on now. There we go. Now we finally got our migration. All right. So if we look at the migration, check this out. This is actually going to build the objects in the database, right? So I've got a table called persons. Why persons and not people? Because people as a table is kind of weird to interact through. So we have our persons table. So we have an ID, a name that goes with it, their phone number, so we know how to get in touch with them, and their schedule ID. It is not allowed to be null. Good. Their name and their phone number can be null. Eventually we'll flip these so that they're required. We have our schedules table. Okay, so our schedule has an ID that comes along with it. Person types, it has an ID name and a person ID. Why does a person type have a person ID? That's weird. Shouldn't. That doesn't feel right. That feels like a wrong construction there. Right? It shouldn't have a person ID from a person type, because person type, it should be a foreign key. We didn't set up a foreign key reference. So we're going to end up fixing that later. Okay, recurring schedule, that looks fine. Has all the things we need, and it has a foreign key relationship back to the schedule ID. To the schedule, good. Schedule exceptions belong to a schedule, good. Schedule items, a schedule item, primary key, and it belongs to a schedule, good. We've got all these indexes it's going to create for us. Fantastic. So now I should be able to do .NET EF database update, and it'll update the container that I have running with all the tables that we just defined. It'll update the container with all the things that we just connection refused. Really? And I think I'm willing to bet that's because when we started the container, we didn't pass through the we didn't pass through a port for it to listen to. I'm willing to bet that's it. Is there Docker command still here? Docker, no. Yeah, right. I don't think Scott's going to be able to help us on this one. Let me go get that Docker container from over Docker command from over here so that we can rerun it. There it is. Right, copy that. Go back over here. Yeah, there we go. RM force. We're going to remove, it's called PG. Goodbye. We're going to rerun it. Except we're also going to pass in, we're going to pass in the port for it to forward. We want it to take 5432 and pass it through to 5432 so it's publicly accessible so that we can access it. So now when we run, that's not how you run Docker. See how it's listening on the local host for 5432? So now I should be able to connect to it, right? This previous notation just says that it's on 5432. Internally, inside other containers, in the virtual space, it could connect to it, but it can't connect to it from outside of there, from outside that virtualization. So I need to go in here. So now let's try and add that, and it should be able to get access to it and be able to interact now. Does it, anyone know if there's an easy way to do a do-over with this type of EF migration so I can do the EF equivalent of a git squash and merge to hide all the dev iterations? No. Oh, wait a sec. Yeah, you're right. We already have that. .NET EF database update, and that should do the update on the database. And come on. This should be like lickety split. Here we go. There we go. Done. I love that. Just done. You can have it output and be a little bit more verbose in what it's doing to the database. I can actually interact with the database. Right, if I say this, I can actually, oops. I want the interactive terminal, thank you. Now I'm actually inside of that container. So if from inside here, what is it, PGSQL? Isn't that the command to start using this? No, PSQL I think it is. There we go. Right? And I can see requires an argument. Right, I want to get it. I want it to prompt me for a password. There it is. And my password was password. Role root does not exist. What? I should be able to see what's going on in here. Yeah, this is very much like Rails, where you can interact with the migrations and things. Why am I not? I should be able to interact with. Do I have to specify that I'm right? I thought. I want to specify my username, capital U. There we go. Now I'm in. There we go. Oh my goodness. I wanted to take a look at the tables. Right? I can't just do show tables. No. I think it's like that. There we go. There's all my tables. Oh my gosh. And if I do can I do a describe? Is that supported over here? I can't remember. Describe persons. Nope, doesn't know describe. No. Where's the command? I want to show the contents of the table. Can I do like that? If I just do /DT, there they are. I think Redgate took the concept similar to Liquibase. Was that the Redgate tool? Nope. Can't see commands because of the camera. You're right. Let's move this over so you can see the commands. That's a little bit better. Right, I forget the command to show me. No. No. There they are. No, I wanted to show me the contents of the table, right? I wanted to show me I mean, I can do a select star from person types. Oh, wait a sec. Select star from Postgres. There is a Visual Studio Code. There is one, yes. Just lurking? All right, thanks, Absolution. See, it's interesting. It's converting it to lowercase there. Do I have to force it? No. There is a way to force it so that it's seeing the case properly. And I can't remember what it is. There it is. Double quotes. Right? And I don't think... Can I just do like that? No, describe doesn't work in Postgres. /D. Why'd I get a... Whatever. There it is. There's all the definition. Thank you, Robert Tables. It's been a while since I've worked with Postgres. So, okay, now we can see how it's defined and it feels right, but I don't like that person ID sitting in there. That's wrong. So my database structure that Entity Framework inferred is not correct. We need to help it out a little bit here. So from a person here, they belong to several types. That's correct. Which means we need a many-to-many table in the middle. Oh, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? So a many-to-many relationship. Right, I'm going to create person type. And this is going to have an ID. JB Pratt, thank you for joining us. Yep, and a person ID. And a person type ID. So that it has this middle, this many-to-many middle table that it can route through. There's a way we need to configure this so that it knows to use the many-to-many table. Let me go over to the documentation and let's look for entity framework core many-to-many. Because setting up the many-to-many relationship is not simple. Let's see if the Stack Overflow has the answer. So it's an I list of this. It's just not supported. Current status is here. You make me sad. No, there's a way to do this. Join table is what I've always called them, but yeah, it is an inner join table. Yes, is to map the join table to an entity, right? So product has categorizations. A categorization has those, and an I collection of categorization. Yeah. So it looks like we also need to put the middle reference objects in there, and it should work. So here, if we go like this, person, like that, public person type. Oh yeah. I can feel the annoyance routing through me right now. Ugh. So that should build properly. There it goes. So let's .NET EF migrations add many person types. So it should analyze, see that this is being used and is available, and it should create a migration that uses this instead. Using many-to-many without the join tables is what is not supported. Thank you, Coding Gorilla. I appreciate you clearing that up. Points to you there. Look at that. Points. So let's take a look at the migration it created and make sure it's not completely worthless. Okay, it is completely worthless. So we created that. Why isn't it using it? Right? Is it because it needs to be an I collection? Oh, yeah. And then on the other side, we need the I collection coming back. All right. Let's remove that. Because I'm going to end up recreating it here in just a second. Goodbye. So person type, let's move you into its own file. And we'll need to save both of those files because it's grouchy like that. Know what I mean? Let's find person type. And from over here, right? Come on. PB York. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. This is going to be an I collection of person objects, and let's call these persons. Right? That's a thing. Using that. Good. Save that. And we should get it. Look at this. What do you mean? Oh no. What? Do that. Here we go. Many to many is the only annoying bit of Entity Framework, but the chance to switch RDBMS and testing makes it worth it. Yes, absolutely, Simon. Unable to determine the relationship representing the navigation property person type of iList person type. I need to change that to an iCollection, I think is what's going on there. You know what I mean? And maybe we need to rename this to person type. Try it again. See if we can recalculate and get it this time. What's your problem? Come on. Nope. Unable to determine the relationship represented by the navigation property. Let's go back over here. Let's make sure. Entity key should be product ID, category ID. All right, so let's see. Let me go to no. This. Get rid of that. Which means that I need an on model creating up in here. Right? On model creating. See, now it's going to give me grief again about this, right? Add the accessibility modifiers. It's not got the appropriate return. And it's going to be grouchy because, yeah, protected internal. Why? Death by 1,000 cuts there, I tell you. So if I say persons dot, right, doesn't need to be I think an iCollection works, right? Let me scroll down here a little bit more and see if there's some more code. No. Entity has one with many, has foreign key. Well, that's annoying to describe. All right. So it was modelbuilder.entity. Yeah. Person. Right? Has many. There we go. Navigation name. Well, has many person type. Right? Hey, Theseus. If you want to switch from PHP to .NET, how much time can it take? Asks Anach. Anach, check out Peach Pie. It's a tool that will allow you to compile your PHP into .NET. You'll get running on the .NET compiler in no time flat. peachpie.io. It is tremendous, and then you can slowly migrate some of those PHP pieces to C#. Okay, so let's go back to the person type. Let's decorate both the person ID and person with key. Right? Yes, you don't know what key is, do you? Oh, man. Which means I need to add the component model. No, I don't want to put that in here. I don't want to contaminate that. Let's specify model builder entity person type. Has key. Okay. So the expression is going to be I want to specify both the person ID and the person type ID. Sets the properties that make it up. Well, what's the other option? Property names. Aha! So I want person ID, person type ID, like that. Has many person type. Okay. Do you use foreign key in real service environment? Yes. Can you put a link in here? Asks Andre. I am. Let me see if I can. Where's my mouse? There it is. Peachpie.io. Check that out. And that'll compile your PHP directly to .NET. Let's see, I'm going to go back over here. Has one client with many. Well, that's the internal, isn't it? Ugh. Come on, just give me the simple syntax for this, right? There is no simple syntax, is there? Has one contact with many contacts. Foreign key. What am I doing here? Updating many to many. Here, from the docs. Let's see. This should have conventions, fully defined relationships. No foreign key, simple navigation property. So we've defined the navigation property. Composite principal key. Principal key? I've never heard principal key be used. Other relationship patterns. One-to-one. Come on, show me that many-to-many. There it is. Many-to-many relationships without an entity class to represent the join table are not yet supported. However, you can represent by including an entity class for the join table and mapping two separate one-to-many relationships.
Wait, let me explain something to you.
Yes, please, explain it. Okay. Post tag. Has key new. Okay. Model builder entity post tag has one post with many post tags. Has foreign key to the post ID. Okay. So in this case, there's a tag object and there is a post tag. So we're defining post tag twice here. This is the pattern we need to follow. Tired Ewok. Told you this was fun. Yeah, Simon. Oh my gosh. So much fun. Tell you what, I will not use the magic string syntax there. That's fine. We'll do something like this. And yeah, let's create a new object. New, so that we do get person ID. And we're also going to get the person type ID. This way we have that intersection uniquely defined. So we need to specify person type. Ugh. Has many persons, right? So if we're going to use this, if post is person, well, has one, has one person, right? like that, right? Yeah. With many post tags. Okay, so that's going to be pt dot person type two-legged breathing. Is a person type a role-based thing? Yes. Yes, it is, Tired Ewok. In our model, we're modeling a volunteer organization. You have volunteers, you have trainers, you have administrators. Somebody can be both a volunteer and a trainer. So, security roles are something slightly different. Slightly different. You'll have an example you can copy pasta for the rest of the app, so not bad ROI. Yeah, I know, right? Has one. So, okay, hang on. So this is coming out of. This is telling me that I need to have a person. Yeah, look, they put a list of post tags down here to navigate through. So I think I need to update this and not have it go through iCollection person type, but in iList, which I kind of agree now was the way to go before. Person type, so that I can route through to it. So now I can say with many, no. Right, I should, this should be person type. That merge. So that I know that I'm crisscrossing back into this thing. Right, now let's look back at the example. It has a foreign key. I need to specify the foreign key object in there. Oh no, okay. Has foreign key. This I'm going to make a P, so I know that it's the person that it's referring to. So this is pt dot person ID. All right. So now we've defined that half of it. Now we need to go and do the other side. So model builder entity person type has one person type. And we're going to map that wait a sec, dot, there we go. Person type. All right. With many. So now, do I need to have, yeah, person type needs to also have person types off of it, not persons. Oh my gosh. Person types. Right? So now over here, with many. Okay, so this is from the type. Right? Has foreign key. Now this is from the person type object, and that's going to be the person type ID. If I've done this right now, we should end up with that many-to-many relationship in between the two, so that we'll be able to navigate back and forth. So let's see if that works. I'm going to look back here at chat while it's building. Know very small amount about all this, what I can fit into a thimble and leave room, but I do know something about it. Okay, so let me explain quickly here, Tired Ewok. I have a person that we're defining. Yeah, we're going to have to delete that. A person has a name, has a phone number, but it also has a collection of types, right? And I mentioned what different types are. When you look at what a type is, it's just an ID and a name, but a person can have multiple types. In order to data model that, we need this inner many-to-many join table that specifies this person belongs to this type. And that combination is unique. So if I say remove here, that should work. So we need to set up a little bit of definition in our code so that our code knows how to walk through that. You stink. You stink there, .NET EF migrations. Right? Remove. Okay, so I can just say remove and it'll remove the last one. I don't have to name it. Will it actually delete it this time? Is it going to go away? Is it going to do the thing? Come on. Do it. Do it now. Good. Just a legend. So I'm writing a system that's going to allow us to create and manage schedules for an organization. So now I'm going to re-add that, and we should get the many-to-many table created properly for us. Here we go. Fantastic. All right. If we look, I'm going to close all these editors. Goodbye. If we look at what was created, there we go. So it's going to drop this foreign key, drop the index, drop the column for that person type object that it incorrectly created. It's going to create the person type object, so it has that middle, and it's going to create a foreign key between the two. Terrific. It's also going to create some indexes on there for us. On the person type ID. It creates the primary key appropriately, and it's going to create a person type ID. Okay, that's fine. I think we're good there. So now I should be able to update the database, right? .NET EF database update, and this will actually update our Postgres database for us. It sounds complicated. It sounds complicated because I don't have a diagram. If we had a diagram, it'd be really cool, and you'd be able to go, oh, of course, a person has multiple types. Makes sense. So now I've got a person with multiple types sitting out there in our database, and I can also commit this, right? So this is inside my database container. I can show you all the database tables. There you go. You can see what's going on there. Check this out. I can even show you what exactly is in this EF migration history table. Nothing. What do you mean it doesn't exist? I was just doing this. Select star from EF migrations. Spell it right, Jeff. And you can see here's what it did. Here's the product version. Here's the migrations that it applied. Am I using a MacBook Pro? Nope, this is a MacBook Air, actually, that I'm connected into. That's why you quit college for programming. Just no, way too much. God forbid you put a semi in the wrong place or forget it. It's frustrating, but you eventually get used to it. You eventually do. So you see it's got a record of the migrations that have been applied. That way I can change and update the database. I can update production as things change. All right, so I'm going to exit all the way out of my container here. And I should actually be able to run a git status and see what's changed. Cool. I can compile and send this up and not compile. I've already been compiling it, but I can send this back out into Git so that we can lock down and be done for the day. And I think that's going to be what we should do here because it's been our 2 hours. And I can continue building out. I can start on a user interface for this using Blazor on Tuesday. I think it's going to be the way to go. Yeah, I think that's where we should stop for right now. So let's stop the music. Start that Mario music. So we connected we finished building out our schedule objects. We verified all of our tests run against them, and I'm going to have them. I have them all connected up so I can save and interact with those back into a database. So I've just added them. Let's commit my changes. Added support for a Postgres database. There we go. And I'll push that up into my private repository where I can continue working on it. If you're interested in seeing my source code, it's... Well, there's a couple forks here to this. I've already forked it. Thank you. You're right. I did. If I go back to my repository, I should have in the C# Fritz repository resources. There it is. Nope, not that one. Oh, come on now. You're killing me. This one. There you can see exactly where it is. It's under github.com/C#Fritz/resource management. And you can see the work that I've been doing. Of course, I'm not going to just let my dev sit here. When I'm ready to merge in these changes, I'll squash and send them over to the main repository. So, what time Tuesday? I will be back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern is what time we'll be back so that we can hang out with some of our... no, I'm sorry. No, Tuesday we'll be back at 10 a.m. My bad. We'll be back at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, 1400 UTC. Thursday we'll be back in the evening. You have two repos with the same source. Well, the one is our shared repository if anybody wants to fork it and continue working. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. Let's set up a raid. Let's get over... It's Sunday morning, and as we do every Sunday morning, let's set up the raid to go join our friend, NoOpCat. There's the raid call. If you're a subscriber, grab that first line of text so we can announce our presence when we get over there and we see Suze. If you're not a subscriber, that's okay. Grab the second line of text. We want to announce our presence. We want to have some fun with Suze. She's working on some JavaScript and IoT things. And I'll see you on Tuesday morning right back here. Just came here and now we're ready. Sorry about that, Renegade Dev. Renegade VI. Take care, everybody. It's been great being here coding with you today. We'll have a lot more fun on Tuesday when we get back into this project and we start building some user interfaces to write to the database. Take care.